the PDP, which is one of the largest and perhaps the oldest political party in this republic, is clearly targeted for destruction. It's a matter of time. There are internal mercenaries in the PDP that have been hired, paid, or otherwise motivated to destroy the party. So the party is on its way to the grave. Okay? And it's most unfortunate because His Excellency, the former Vice President, was explaining how politicians came together, essentially, put aside their differences to drive away the military. Most of these politicians ended up in the PDP. So the PDP actually represented the best of our politicians that fought for restoration of democracy. Forget those that make the most noise.
El-Rufai is back in the news, and this time he's criticizing the APC, Tinubu's government, and the state of democracy in Nigeria. But wait a minute, wasn't this the same El-Rufai who stood front and center defending Tinubu at Chatham House just a few months ago?
My friend, Mr. Alex Vines, ladies and gentlemen, security has been a big issue in Nigeria in the last few years, and that has affected not only rural economies, but agricultural production, commerce, and everything else. The Bola Tinubu administration will address these challenges or whatever remains of it after the efforts of this administration in at least 3 ways. First, policing. Nigeria has about 300,000 policemen for a population of over 200 million. We need at least twice that number. That will be achieved by amending the constitution so that policing can be at federal, state, and even at community level. With increased security footprint, there will be less and less of criminal activity. The second step is to look at our armed forces and security architecture. Nigerian armed forces are not more than 200,000 in size. The Army, Navy, the Air Force.
Here's the thing about politicians. They're always in it for themselves. Today it's APC. Tomorrow it's a coalition party. El-Rufai's latest moves are no different. And it's time we call it what it is. Political self-interest disguised as concern for Nigeria. At a recent national conference on strengthening democracy, El-Rufai didn't hold back. He criticized the APC, calling it a zero-man show and claiming that no party organs have met in over 2 years. According to him, the APC has lost its way and the problems that led to its creation remain unresolved. He even went further to say he no longer recognizes the APC and hinted at forming a coalition party to challenge the current government. Now, let's stop here for a second. Is this not the same El-Rufai who stood by Tinubu's side during the elections? The same El-Rufai who answered questions for Tinubu at Chatham House? Did he not see this coming? Or is this just another example of a politician playing both sides? Here's the thing about Nigerian politicians. They're always calculating. When El-Rufai criticizes Tinubu and APC now, it's not because he suddenly cares about the suffering of Nigerians. It's because he's looking for the next political move. He's already hinted at supporting a coalition party, possibly the SDP, to unite the opposition against APC. But let's not forget, El-Rufai was instrumental in the formation of the APC in 2015. Back then, the same tactics were used to bring Buhari to power, and Nigerians know how that turned out. So, what's really going on here? Is El-Rufai suddenly a champion of democracy, or is this about positioning himself for power in the next political cycle? At the same conference, El-Rufai mentioned a conversation with Peter Obi. Obi reportedly said, "I don't know what's happening in the party I contested with." But let's be clear, Peter Obi has been consistent in his stance. He's not interested in forming a coalition just for the sake of grabbing power. Obi has made it clear that any coalition must be about the future of Nigeria, not transactional politics. Unlike El-Rufai, who seems to be hopping from one political strategy to another, Obi's focus remains on issues like education, security, and the welfare of Nigerians. This is the kind of leadership Nigeria needs, not more political games. El-Rufai also took a swipe at Tinubu's administration, criticizing its economic policies, particularly the sudden increase in fuel prices. He said, "There is no economic reform worth doing if it brings massive suffering and plunges millions into poverty. It's better to take things bit by bit." Well, El-Rufai, when you were defending Tinubu during the campaigns, did you not know that these would be the outcomes? The signs were there. This government was never about the people. Tinubu's sudden fuel price hikes have driven inflation to record highs, making life unbearable for millions of Nigerians. Yet, politicians like El-Rufai are only speaking up now after benefiting from the very system they're criticizing. Let's call it what it is. Politicians like El-Rufai are always in it for themselves. When the APC worked for him, he defended it. Now that the APC is falling apart, he's distancing himself and exploring other options. This is the problem with Nigerian politics. It's not about the people, it's about power. These politicians will jump from party to party, coalition to coalition, just to stay relevant. And unfortunately, the average Nigerian pays the price for their selfish ambitions. So, what can we learn from all of this? Don't trust politicians blindly, whether it's El-Rufai, Tinubu, or any other politician. Always question their motives. Are they really working for the people, or are they just playing political games? Focus on policies, not parties. Instead of getting caught up in party politics, Nigerians need to focus on policies that will improve their lives. Look beyond the party names and ask tough questions about their plans for education, healthcare, and the economy. Hold leaders accountable. El-Rufai's criticism of Tinubu and the APC is a reminder that we must hold all leaders accountable, regardless of their political affiliations. Politicians only respect one thing: the power of the people. El-Rufai's recent moves might seem like a step in the right direction, but let's not be fooled. This is a man who was front and center defending Tinubu just a few months ago. His sudden criticism of the APC is not about Nigerians. It's about his own political survival. To Nigerians, I say this: trust politicians like El-Rufai at your own peril. They are not in it for you. They are in it for themselves. If we want real change, we need to stop falling for their games and start demanding better leadership.